What if the ocean rose by just 1 meter everywhere on Earth? Right now, the world's oceans cover about 361 million square kilometers, more than 70% of the planet's entire surface. Raise all of that by just 1 meter, and you're talking about roughly 361,000 cubic kilometers of new water appearing everywhere on the planet's surface, all at the exact same moment, with absolutely no warning at all. That's enough water to bury the entire land area of France under more than half a kilometer. Venice already floods during ordinary high tides. 1 meter would leave much of it permanently underwater rather than just occasionally soaked. Large parts of Bangkok sit barely above current sea level, built on soft river delta soil that's already sinking on its own. Coastal Florida, including huge stretches of Miami, would lose entire neighborhoods within minutes, not years, along with much of the state's freshwater supply turning brackish almost immediately. Roughly 200 million people currently live on land less than 1 meter above the high tide line, concentrated heavily in river deltas across South and Southeast Asia. Every single one of them would be displaced instantly, with no time to evacuate, no time to gather belongings, and nowhere prearranged to actually go. In reality, water can't simply appear from nowhere. That would break basic conservation of mass, one of physics' most fundamental rules. Real sea level rise comes from two sources instead: melting land ice, glaciers, and ice sheets on Greenland and Antarctica, adding genuinely new water to the ocean that wasn't there before. And thermal expansion, warmer ocean water physically taking up more volume than colder water, even with the same total mass. Right now, sea levels are actually rising, but at around 3 to 4 millimeters per year, driven by exactly those two causes working together. Reaching 1 full meter at that real, gradual pace would take well over 2 centuries of steady change. This entire hypothetical scenario compresses all of that slow-motion process into a single, physically impossible instant. Coral reefs are extremely sensitive to exact depth, since usable sunlight fades quickly with every extra meter of water sitting above them. Mangrove forests that naturally buffer coastlines from storms would suddenly sit permanently submerged instead of at the waterline. Freshwater wetlands, home to countless bird and fish species, would see saltwater pushing directly into them, all in the same single instant. Ports and harbors engineered for a specific, known water level would suddenly have loading docks sitting underwater instead of at deck height, stranding cranes and cargo mid-operation. Coastal power plants, many of them cooled using pumped seawater, would face flooded intake equipment within the very first minute of the change, some forced into emergency shutdown. During the last ice age, roughly 20,000 years ago, sea levels were about 120 meters lower than today, low enough that people walked between what are now separate continents. The ocean has moved dramatically before, just never anywhere close to this fast. Not instantly, no. Physics simply doesn't allow it. But climate scientists do project up to roughly 1 meter of real sea level rise by the year 2100, under higher emission scenarios that are still very much on the table. The instant version here is fiction. The eventual number honestly isn't. A meter sounds small on paper, small enough to step over without thinking twice. Spread across every coastline on Earth all at once, it's the difference between a map staying the same and a map that has to be redrawn.